What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? Golly, bet you by golly, wow. What is up, everybody, man? It's your boy MM2K back with wow, a zinger, a humdinger, a zinger, man. Some crazy stuff, crazy times, but as a gamer with a capital G, and you know what I mean, you can't do nothing but appreciate it. Here, that date is wrong down there. I'm gonna fix that while I'm talking. You can't do nothing though but appreciate this, because and me having I don't want to say a background in marketing, but in working with our marketing team, as we tried to pull in new clients, I can respect this stuff. I can respect the white knuckle brawl out. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't follow my content, you may not be aware. I'm not the biggest fan of Xbox. This move, actually, with some of the news that have just been breaking, shout out to Paul Tassi too. I knew they had it in them. Shout out to Paul Tassi, but especially with the late breaking news, this does nothing for my personal choice as far as where I'm playing Outriders, because my stance still on Xbox, and I'll explain that. But again, here at the Stadia Dosage, and here with me, with your boy MM2K, I look at things from 5,000 feet. I don't try to peg the outcome of these platforms just to my liking. I recognize and realize that when big moves are made, regardless if it waters my mouth or not, the potential impact it's going to have. This is a big move. Not so. It's big on the console front, but it's a big shot down the bow to cloud gaming, and particularly Stadia. It is. But it shows the Xbox Gamepass value proposition, as we call it, not the term value, but the value proposition, which is, hey, look, we're trying to advertise ourselves as a value, even though the word value is subjective. And here's how we advertise ourselves as a value, because we offer this, and this at this particular cost. We got to be very careful with that word value, because and everybody's guilty of it. They misuse it all the time. Value is subjective. A deal, you know what I'm saying, isn't subjective. Like, for instance, if I walk into a room and I got two baskets, one basket is a huge behind basket of zucchinis. Just say if there's 100 zucchinis in there in one basket for $1, and in another basket is a Snickers, a king size Snickers for $1. Just because there's more zucchinis in that one basket opposed to that king size Snickers in the other basket, if I don't like zucchinis, then that's not a value. A value, you got to look at the text word definition of value. Value means that you're willing to go and physically obtain said product or service because it has meaning to you. I don't care about 1,000 zucchinis in a basket, but I do love me some Snickers. So you'll see me go get the king. You see what I'm saying? And everybody is guilty of it. That's because slogans and puns get pushed around and people love living off of them and they use them erroneously. Xbox presents the greatest deal and gives you the greatest bargains in gaming. And you can measure that numerically. You can look at the words, the textbook definitions of the word bargains and deals, look at it and calculate it numerically, contrast it to their peers, and it's a fact. It's a matter of fact that Xbox has the biggest deals and bargains in gaming, period. Okay? But what makes it a value is what can that provide at said cost that is meaningful to said consumer? So we'll talk about that. But what I will say is, man, oh man, oh man. Well, before I get into that, a good example of that, y'all, is the homie Doc Dark 6. We're going to talk about that too with the time that we have. Doc Dark 6 is an Xbox gamer. He's somebody that originally didn't feel like cloud was in a space where it was possible to play any major part in your gaming world. And he represented what the average gamer thinks about cloud gaming. That's why I went to him, and he's also a great content creator, down to earth guy, real cool guy. But the reason why I went to him is because he has the mindset of the average consumer when it comes to cloud gaming. Not this pie in the sky illusion that we have that cloud gaming at any level is ready to buck against dedicated device gaming. No, we're not. That goes for Stadia, GFN, Amazon, Luna, Buna, Skuna, Duna. It goes for all of us. We just don't. So the reason why I went to him is because I wanted to take someone with that mindset, that perspective on cloud gaming, actually introduce them to what cloud gaming presents at the Stadia level, then get their perspective. And then someone who has Stadia in his hands and is playing it, is now playing Stadia, all right, and is now seeing their value proposition, which is largely beholden to the tech. He now said, look, I can't even play Xcloud. I don't even want to play it. Why? Because to other gamers, I get there's a section of us in the community who value volume over quality. We value quantity over quality. That's only 5% of us. Doc Dark represents really, he's in between. He represents more of the 95% than he does the 5%. And I don't know Doc from a can of paint. I just saw his content. But I observed and I said, okay, this is somebody who, if he gives his brutal, honest opinions, and he does, he's slicing the dice of Google in his latest video. If we go to somebody that gives their honest and clearest opinion, that has that particular mindset that's close to the 95%, and we put Stadia in their hands, what will they say? That I think is beneficial to us, those that are in this bubble, and those of us that, and to Stadia as well, so they can know how to better market their product. I think it's beneficial to everybody. That being said, Doc said, I don't want to touch Xcloud because when I'm on the go, I forget that I'm playing in the cloud. It feels like I'm playing natively. That's a value proposition that is powerful for Stadia. So even though there are those of us in the 5% that love quantity over quality, the vast majority of gamers love quality over quantity. Or they prefer more of a balance, but they love quality. The average gamer only plays 2 to 3 games a year. That's Stadia's target demo. But they also, that's their main target demo, But they also have options. They're not fully matured and groomed yet, but they also have options for the 5%. All right, they got Ubisoft Plus out there. They got Stadia Pro out there. And mind you, this platform has only been out for 15 months. So it's going to grow, it's going to mature, it's going to get more of a value proposition over time, be more of a bargain, be more of a deal. But there has to be a balance. So yes, even though there's a slew of us that just want to go through a handful of games. Oh, I played it. Okay, I'm going to put that down. Let me pick this up. Oh, yeah, I played this and I'm going to put that down a bit. That doesn't represent all game. That don't represent all gamers. It don't represent a majority of gamers. And we got to understand that. So yes, even though this is a huge move, there are ways that Stadia can try to counterbalance that. But I got to be honest with you. Well, we always honest here, but I just like saying that phrase to hone in on how serious this is. Even I got to be honest with you. Xbox today just seasoned Stadia's broth. Now, what do I mean by that? That's a term from the hood. You know what I'm saying? Way back in the day, we used to say, "Oh, look, this cat, he got something to say to you, man. Let's take it to the street. Let's throw the hands. Let's pound it out, right?" And when you lump them up, real decent, like, nothing crazy, but two men gonna have a disagreement that they feel like they got to throw the hands, and they throw the hands, and you lump somebody up real quick. You say, okay, I season this broth. Like when you season broth, you put in lumps of broth seasoning, right? So that's an old hood term. I'm going to season this broth. Hey, yo, Xbox came out today and they seasoned Stadia's broth. There's no way around it. And that causes a problem for Stadia because I feel like Stadia doesn't even want that smoke right now. Like, I get it. Phil Harrison came out there talking about the 10.7 teraflops or whatever the hell Stadia's teraflops were as a means to lure over daddy device gamers and say, look, if you're a tech enthusiast, you might be interested in what we got because now we're going to talk to you in terms and use numbers that really get your antennas raised at this moment, which was teraflops. And I think that was a mistake. A lot of us say that was a mistake. Project Storm disagrees, and I get where he's coming from. I totally get where he's coming from because he said, that percolated me and got me over to the platform. And, ever since, the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? So let me go to the comment section. I've been babbling a lot because I've been trying to tweet this out. Shout out to all of y'all, man. Thank y'all so much. Oh, the homie Doc Dark, is he in here? Is Doc Dark in here? Yeah. My brother. Hey, my brother from another mother, man. He's in here, man. Doc Dark, 1985. Shout out to you, good brother. He's in here. I was babbling. I didn't even know you was in here. He said, I sure did crush Google for not promoting right. Absolutely, man. Oh, here goes my brother. My brother. Post up. He said this Negro hating on Xcloud because Stadia dead. Here, hey, y'all give it to him. Season this broth. Season this broth. We got an intruder in here. Season this dude's broth. Don't let up on post up. Show him the real deal. Ashes to ashes in the house. He says, correct, Patrick. Then you got to get it at a discount. He said, just playing devil's advocate, you have to buy Outriders when it leaves Gamepass. You'll also need Gamepass to play the game online. So if you're on, play 1-2 game at a time. There's some other things going on with that. And again, shout out to what's bro's name? Shout out to I forgot Paul Tassi. He pointed out something major to me, which really I actually contemplated. I said, do I want to get this for Game Pass? I mean, I'm getting it for Stadia regardless. The quality of Stadia is bar none. Doc, look, hey, Doc, I need you to talk to Post Up. My good brother Post Up. I need you to, Doc, I need y'all to go behind the scenes. I need you to, hit a phone booth, call him up and say, yo, Post, your glucose level might be too high today. Tell him Stadia's the truth. Let him know. Ain't no hate on. I done look. Post. See, this is what gets my brother Post Up jammed up. I love my brother. He's a smart, intelligent brother. It's just I want him to look at the full plethora of information out there before he jump out the window. But what gets my brother jammed up is he goes to sources of information where he's comfortable. I go fishing everywhere. I go dumping in the garbage. I go everywhere. I go to sources that I don't like. I listen to everybody, right? And that's why I know what I know. And that's how I was able to establish the relationships and and the connections that we have that made this platform a success, thanks to all of you. We can't do this without you guys and gals. With that being said, so we put Stadia in my homie Doc Dark's hand. Now, Doc Dark is an expert. He's an expert. Doc Dark came out there with the video. He said, look, man. And he said, streaming just ain't there yet, bro. He says, I'm not digging it. So we heard that. We said, man, this dude is a great content creator. He know how to throw down. He just hasn't been familiarized with all of the offerings of cloud gaming in totality. Let's help him out. Hooked him up. Bro said, I don't even want to touch Xcloud anymore. Said, I don't want to touch it. Like I said, he sees in Stadia's broth too about the advertising. And I know the Stadia community is trying to help Doc out because in reality, Google has tried, but the media just hampers everything that they've said. But to Doc's point, have they tried enough? Because if they tried enough, Doc would notice, right? And that's the problem that we'll run into. Is that, and again, that's why I'm gonna ask all y'all if Doc needs help. That's why Doc will tell you I don't bother him. I let him do his thing. I try to hook him up so he can experience what he can on the platform, and I let him do his thing. I don't try to correct him, which again, I'm not saying, I think the Stadia community has been great to Doc. I've been reading all the comments and stuff like that. You guys have been awesome. And, give the brother help where he may need it. Like if he's having difficulty with something, let him know, like give him Stadia Help Center or show him a Reddit page or whatever, you know what I'm saying, to help the good brother out. But let my brother rock out because he's a representation of how successful Stadia is getting their message across. And I will say this, I've been battling people. Shout out to my good brother Gamer Life TV. See, I can admit where I may have to adjust my approach. Now, the irony of this is that me and my brother Gamer Life TV was just battling this out on Twitter. And Gamer Life TV was like, yo, Stadia's going to have to act fast. And I'm like, bro, they got time, relax, chillax. Now, I'm not saying that they still don't have time, but with the move that Google pulled today, that Xbox pulled today, with the move that they pulled today, they showed you that they are trying to keep their foot on Google's neck. They don't care if Google's is in a data collection phase. If they ain't ready, they smell blood in the water. Let me explain to you why. When Phil Harrison and Microsoft, they are concerned about Google because they know that Google has the best tech out there. And all Google got to do is what? Doc said it in his video. Doc ain't watched none of my videos before he said it in his video. All Google got to do is what? Get the games. If Google can get compelling games on there or the games that people play on there, it's a wrap. But as far as Doc is concerned, which is true, if Microsoft can get its tech in order, because they already got the games, if they get their tech in order, then it's a wrap on the other side. You feel me? So that's why sometimes as we sit here and we get behind this mic and we say what we say and we try to armchair quarterback, just including myself, it's always good to unplug, unwind, and see what these companies are doing. Because if what these companies are doing don't match our rhetoric, then we might be disconnected from something. And it's not a case of, oh, they're dumb and we're smart. There's a reason why MM2K is sitting in his attic behind his little Hachitachi keyboard, stealing money from his wife's credit card to buy games. And while Phil Harrison is the vice president over at Google, apparently Phil Harrison is a little bit more plugged into MM2K. So for me to sit on this side of the mic and act like I'm the expert, and they're just dummies, is really detached from reality. But far too often we do that. So even though you got YouTubers and content creators, like I just saw a person drop a video today talking about Stadia died and got information all wrong. Said they just closed down SG&E today. They said Stadia just closed down SG&E. It's crazy for clicks, right? But even at that, we can sit and say what we want to say. There's a reason why Phil Harrison sent the letter out to his team. Let's look at this chronologically. He sent the letter out to his team before Google hit the scene. There's a reason why I can't even sleep at night. I can't sleep at night. Google and Amazon, Google. There's a reason why he did that. There's a reason why he did all the things that he's done before. And there's a reason why he did what he did today. He understands that the tech around what Amazon is providing, and more notably what Google is providing, is better than theirs. And they have a head start. And if you understand how this works, then you understand that even though Microsoft is working to improve Xcloud, Amazon and Google ain't sitting in some crypt waiting for hey, Phil, call us when your tech catches up. No. While they're working, Google's people is working. And while Xbox has master engineers, Google has, they have the best engineers in the world. They got the best of those master engineers. Right? So Xbox understands that even though they have the games and the partnerships and the lineage, these people have the tech right now. So we got to stomp them out. Oh, Google want to come out on stage and talk about 10.7 teraflops? Let's put the spotlight on them and put the pressure on them, because being in this industry for decades, Phil Spencer, being in this industry for decades, understand what it takes and how much of a stumble you're going to take at first doing this. The OG Xbox, the first generation, lost $7 billion, $5 to $7 billion. That was reported by Robbie Bach, former head of Xbox, in his book. They lost 5 to 7. Yeah, the home of Halo 1 and Halo 2 lost $5 to $7 billion that generation. The following generation, they lost $3 billion. So Phil Spencer knows that when the pressure is thick and heavy, people tend to buckle to that pressure. And he understands now more than ever that pressure is even more paramount now than it was back in the day. You got the outrage culture, the idiot herd. You got things happening now as far as people talk. You got the advent of YouTube and content creators like myself that'll down you and dog you and clown you and lie about you for the sake of clicks that Xbox didn't even have to deal with back in the day, and it was still rough for them. So Phil knows that, and he says, look, we're going to stomp these fools out before they even get a chance to even be at our level in totality. That's the purpose of all this. You feel what I'm saying? Calvin Morgan in the house. Hey, look, y'all, the chat is killing it. I want to say this. Do me a huge favor, y'all, because I might miss some of your stuff. If you have a comment for me, and I missed it. If I didn't miss it, don't worry about it. But if I missed it, and you got a comment for me, just hit that super chat button. Or if you just want to support the platform, hit that super chat button. Also, if you want to become a member, we got member exclusive content that we do periodically and ad hoc stuff. We got a show called My First Look, which I'm gonna film an episode of that tonight for our members. I'm gonna take a look at one of the Ubisoft games because I got Ubisoft Plus. There's a crap load of games that I've never played, so I'm gonna pull out one of the Ubisoft games and play it for my first look and tell you how it plays on Stadia. I'm going to, and then we got Channel Watch, which has been on hiatus, but it's coming back this week definitely. We got the SSC After Party, which is the show that we do after the SSC podcast. Is every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We had a great show with the homie Proper's Place and Rick Tone for the main show, and the After Party was just bumping with Proper's Place as well. Shout out to him. Another general gamer who got a hold of Stadia was like, hold on. The rhetoric in the media don't match what's actually going on with this platform. What is y'all talking about? And then now we got the Cloud Gamer Chronicles. Now that's going to be a little bit more ad hoc, but it's us throwing our hat in the ring of reporting on everything cloud gaming. And I think that's going to be an important venue because we're looking to ensure that the cloud, the scope that's put on cloud gaming, that the playing field is level. I know we all got our favorite platforms and we feel a certain way, but there has to be structure behind when we disseminate this news, not when we're giving our opinions, but when we're disseminating this news to where we got to be on. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to this whole Outriders thing, I'm mad as hell at GFN. I have not had a good experience with GFN at all. And I love that game. That's all I want to play is that Outriders demo. But there's a certain point in time during the day that I got to leave here. Happy wife, happy life, right? I got to leave the studio and I got to go downstairs. And that's when I be playing. That's when I play my most Stadia. And I don't record it, which I'm going to start doing it more. But I play my most Stadia down in the living room on my Google TV. You know what I'm saying? I play a lot of, and I play some GFN too, when it does work for a particular game. And I'm mad as hell that out of all the streaming platforms, I get into some Luna as well. Out of all the streaming platforms, GFN performs the worst on the dongle. And their answer is you got to get a Nividia Shield. That's not acceptable to me, but that's my personal opinion. But how fair would it be if that me with my biased point of view towards GFN, if I was the one responsible for most of the news cascading to people about GFN? That wouldn't be fair, would it? No. So if I want to diligently report the news fairly and evenly, I'm going to have to go to somebody else, right? To do it on my behalf. So those are just some of the things that as a community, hopefully we'll look into, we'll realize, we'll look in the mirror and spotlight on ourselves and be self-aware. And that's some of the things that we're going to be doing in the Cloud Gamer Chronicles. I'm still going to chime in. I'm still going to show my footage. But when we sit down and we rate performance and we talk about it, it's going to be on an even keel. You're not just going to hear MM2K. It's going to be with people across the board that have fathomable experiences across the board with all these platforms, right? That's how you keep things fair and balanced. There has to be structure behind the scenes. Okay. All right. With that said, shout out to everybody. I mentioned hitting that super chat button or hitting the join button to become part of the community. But let's go on. All right. So yeah, all I can say, y'all, is that this was a serious move. If you're a gamer that likes to play on the go and you're not too worried about quality, because I'm pretty sure that the quality on Xcloud is going to be very subpar in comparison to GFN and Stadia. It's going to be very subpar. Unless, and you never know, because Microsoft they're serving out lumps when it comes to this. Unless they plan with Outriders to release the Xbox Series X server blades. If they release those Xbox Series X server blades with the release of Outriders, hey, yo. Now, for me personally, it still wouldn't be the tell-all be-all because I would have to look at the stream quality for one. And for two, I think the initial release is going to be the 1080 version with up to 60 frames per second. And then down the road, before the year end of 2021, likely with the release of Halo, then you're going to see the 4K version, right? But even just the announcement that they can release the 1080 60 mode, that's going to create a lot of shockwaves with mindshare. So that would really do it. So, yeah, man, these are some serious moves by Xbox. Xbox again. Oh, I can't. Phil Spencer, I can't sleep at night, baby. I can't sleep at night. Oh, think about Amazon. Even despite all the silly people, like my good brother post up, I love him, but Stadia is dead. Phil Spencer don't believe that. I think you see this move that you saw today because of the fact that Outriders is launching day and date on Stadia. I think that announcement or that revelation is what forced Phil's hand for him to do whatever he needed to do to drop the duffel, to go to his engineers and say, yo, before this damn thing launches, I needed to be day and date in Gamepass and I needed to work on Xcloud. I just need to be able to say that because we already got the mind share over Stadia and we can't have another Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 was embarrassing as hell to us, y'all, and it was. Microsoft had the marketing rights. They sold you a console for like $11 billion, and the game played like poop on there. A dongle and a controller that was $100 together played better than what was on the Xbox, on a $500 console altogether. Digital Foundry tried to shame the performance by hacking into the local Dunkin' Donuts and siphoning Wi-Fi from there, and it still didn't work. So everybody was buying Cyberpunk 2077. My own brother, my own flesh and blood, who was telling me, hey, yo, bro, I appreciate you doing all this, but man, I ain't thinking about no damn Stadia. That mug showed up at my house. Where you come? Hey, yo, where you come from? You done flew or drove 4 states up here. Hey, guess what I got, little bro? What? Well, I got that Stadia. I ordered 3 of them mugs. Everybody was tweaking off that Stadia on Cyberpunk 20. It sold out. You couldn't go to the brick and mortar stores that sold them. You couldn't pick one up. It sold out. Stadia never experienced that. And those controllers that Jason Schreier tried to beef up his Les Posay with, that he talked about that they gave away, those controllers were given away to paying customers in those campaigns, in the Cyberpunk campaign and the YouTube Premium campaign. So they weren't just given out at soup kitchens, they were given to paying customers. All surrounding Cyberpunk 2077. It didn't really hurt Xbox, but it was embarrassing for them. And it helped boost their big competitor when they've had their foot on their neck all year, and they didn't like that. So now you have the announcement of SG&E, which that was Stadia shooting themselves in the foot of how they handled that. And they're still trying to recover from that. Xbox still has blood in their eye. From Cyberpunk 2077, they said, no. We bought Bethesda in hopes that, and their belief was, and this is why they believe this, even though the proper context to it isn't in those articles, but their hope was that by them buying Bethesda, Xbox would say to Stadia, it's not even worth being in gaming, which is a level of absurdity because Google has to be in gaming. Maybe if Amazon fails, Google can look at that and say, okay, well, we'll bow to, let Microsoft have that. I doubt it. But if Microsoft and Amazon are doing well, Google has to stay in. Y'all, that's why I tell y'all, if y'all need me to do this, I know I know that we're hooking people up with Stadia premieres, but if I gotta hook y'all up with a copy of Rich Dad Poor Dad, just let me know. I'll send copies on the quick. Google can't get out of gaming when their major competitors are in here. That's why Jack Buser said, look, we get it. And he said this before launch. When y'all first pick up the Stadia controller, the average gamer is going to say, you know what? This may not be for me. But when they come back years later, they're going to say, oh my God, this thing has improved tremendously. Years later. So that talks to them being in this in the long haul, understanding that the first year are going to be for the enthusiast, for the cloud gaming, for the 2 to 4% business. It's not going to represent the 96% business. But here's the problem that Stadia is facing. Even though Stadia is trying to tread lightly in the 2 to 4% lane, which is just against cloud gaming, which is projected to be an $8 billion business by 2027, its growth rate is tremendous at 49%. You don't see a growth rate at 49% for a particular said product unless it's tracking and it's going to trend tremendously well. So in the next several years, cloud gaming is going to be a huge determinant in the gaming space. But what Microsoft is saying is they're saying, we don't care. We don't even want you to get on the stage because we understand how lethal you could be. Why don't we stomp you out now? And see, everybody's bullseyes on Stadia. That's why I say personally to me, you can't tell me that Stadia is not the king of the cloud. That Stadia doesn't present the biggest threat to everybody. Because they want to knock it, they all want to attack it so much. If they didn't feel like Stadia was a threat, it wouldn't be in everybody's mouths. That's why they're talking about Stadia so much. It is the biggest threat to the other cloud gaming platforms, the biggest threat to the daddy device world. That's why they're always trying to dog it out. So because of that, Stadia, they got a tough road ahead. And I'm gonna apologize first and foremost. I'm gonna pull back a little bit. Shout out to my homie Gamer Life TV. Now I understand more where you're coming from because you're saying, I'm assuming, and maybe I'm helping out your argument and you didn't mean to, but I'll do it anyway. Whatever. This wasn't what you meant. But because the target is on Stadia's back so much, that I guess the feeling is that they have to react sooner and faster and more impactful than GFN and Amazon. So I understand that. I understand that mantra. I don't believe so in totality. I think they are going to have to get a little bit more aggressive, though. I will say this. As I'm now going back to my brother Gamer Live TV and saying, okay, now I kind of better understand what you're saying because all these compounding facts are laying on top of Stadia to where the pressure is so much on them that they gotta show a little bit more aggressiveness. Okay, I get that. Even though I may not totally agree with how they handle that, I get where you're coming from. I'm also going to say this to Stadia. I'm going to say this about Stadia. I'm going to apologize to Stadia because I was so mad at the stealth drops that Stadia would do. The keeping close to the vest of what Stadia would do. I used to say, oh, that's so bad. And, you know, why aren't you being a little bit more forward, a little bit more open? I think we saw why today. I think we saw why today. Sorry if I'm bursting eardrums, but I'm serious. I think we saw why today. Really, Stadia doesn't want that smoke because it's trying to, again, tread the line within the smaller portion of the business, within the first few years, like Jack Buser said, and then propel up. And Xbox is like, no, we're going to clip your wings before you even come out the cocoon. I see why they don't want to say nothing. They want to keep everything locked in the vault. I truly believe, and y'all can't tell me y'all don't believe otherwise. I truly believe that what you saw today, in large part, if not all of it, was due to the fact that Outriders was coming to Stadia day and date all of a sudden. It was coming to Stadia day and date, and Xbox said, you know what? That thing comes day and date to Stadia. People can play it on the go with all that fidelity, and people are going, those that don't have Stadia, like Cyberpunk, maybe not in the same vein, but in similar fashion, are going to be egged towards getting it on Stadia if they market this right. Let's kill it. Even though it may not play as well on Xcloud, and even though it's not going to be available everywhere per this deal, let's kill that momentum. This is a mindshare war. Microsoft is playing chess, and Stadia is still trying to keep its pieces in the box. They don't want that smoke right now, and I get it. But they got to think of something, because not particularly with this deal, but if this persists like this, if Microsoft just keeps hammering on them, it's going to really kill any momentum. Like I said, it's going to clip their wings before they can even come out of the cocoon. So in response, this is me being crazy, but this would cost too much money. In response, maybe get Outriders and Stadia Pro. Get Outriders and Stadia Pro and do another Stadia bundle, Premier bundle. Say, look, you can get Outriders and Stadia Pro day one. Now, Microsoft. But then, if you want to buy it, if you want to support the devs, because look, let me explain something to y'all. I'm going to explain something to y'all. Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all something. You know how we do. Let me, is this up? Yeah, this is up. This is the People Can Fly Twitter feed. Nowhere here on the People Can Fly Twitter feed does it acknowledge or promote the announcement of this game coming to Gamepass. These are the developers. People Can Fly. However, if you go to Reddit on behalf of People Can Fly, guess who put something out there? First of all, People Who Can Fly would like to express their gratitude and thank everyone who has pre-ordered Outriders. So far, without your belief, it would be hard to create this original universe, which we'll spend many, many hours enjoying. So you don't have People Can Fly jumping out their shoes and socks over this deal. But Square Enix is. Now, why could that be? And shout out to my homie King Thrash. I know y'all like to laugh at King Thrash. Y'all like to call him crazy and all this other stuff. But when you get past the entertainment level and what he says and his cadence and all that other stuff, and you get to the heart of the matter, there is substance there. He was debating somebody this weekend on Broadband Bullies, my brother, Next Gen 720's channel. And he said, I want to support the devs. So I'll buy the game outright. Now, what does he mean by that? Well, there's deals out there that when deals are being made, that on a purchase of a game, software, digital or hard copy, that X amount of sale, that, they get a percentage of those sales if they reach X amount of sales. Like the company will give you money up front, the publishing company will give you money up front to develop the game. They'll give you money again to pay your people and all this other stuff. And it's okay, it's money to keep the lights on for that duration. But the big money comes in the bonuses. After you hit X amount of sales, or if the game gets XYZ Metacritic, stuff like that, then we're going to lump on XYZ amount of money. My question is, again, I'm not going to speak in absolutist terms, but something for everybody to think about. My question is in this deal with Square Enix, the publisher, in this deal with Square Enix, how much did Microsoft's cut go to People Can Fly? Yeah. How much of this money? Because all you see People Can Fly talking about is the 2 million downloads in just 1 week. They're focused on the individual sales. How much of this money that Phil Spencer and company pay to Square Enix going to People Can Fly? That's what I'm curious to know. And if that's all determined by Square Enix, and Square Enix is like, well, we're going to hold on to it right now, we'll make that determination later. How does that bode when People Can Fly? They ain't going to say nothing right now. But how would that bode with them? And also, if I'm Stadia, do I think it's worth it for this game to push back and pay? Because they're going to look, Stadia's going to have to pay way more money to get it on Stadia Pro than well, no, maybe not, because by it being in Xcloud, there's way more Xbox people than Stadia people. My God. So maybe not. But is it worth it for Stadia to say, we're going to drop this game in Stadia Pro day one, and we're going to give out more Premier bundles for those that buy the game outright, and then get People Can Fly to speak on that? You know what I'm saying? Get them to speak on that. Get people can fly to do an advertisement and say, yo, if you buy the game on Stadia outright, you'll get a Stadia bundle. Is what, you know what I'm saying? Like the Stadia ultimate deal. Get Outriders on the best cloud streaming service out there, Stadia. Up to 4K, this and that, 60 frames per second, blah, blah, blah. Get it day one in Stadia Pro. And for another special announcement, we got Fred Hooga Booga or whatever from People Can Fly. Fred, come on the stage. Yeah. And for those that want to buy the game outright, Stadia's supporting that option heavily too. Buy Outriders, pre-order Outriders on Stadia and get a free Stadia Premiere bundle along with it. Back to you, Jack Buser. You know what I'm saying? They can be aggressive like that, but then you got to ask yourself. Is it worth the money for Outriders, for one? And for two, how much of that money is earmarked towards getting bigger games? See, those two questions could just make this just me just spitting all over my pop filter for nothing, and something that Stadia would never even entertain. Because they shut down SG&E for all intents and purposes, arguably, to get more AAA games on there. So why would you waste a whole bunch of money just on Outriders, which is a very good game? I think it's going to do very well, but is it going to be the blockbuster that you really want to spend all this money on? So it's just an interesting dynamic, and at the end of the day, it's something that Stadia is going to have to look at in totality and say, how are we going to deal with this? We want to operate in this lesser plateau right now, as we should, but we got all these big dogs. You know, we got the big dog trying to shoot down on us. What are we going to do? You're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive, because this isn't just something that could potentially stall your growth. It's something that's looking to take people away from your platform. I mean, think about it. Stadia, people that pre-ordered it on Stadia might be looking at this and maybe saying, I'm going to get it on Xbox. Now, I'm not going to do that. Why? For two reasons. Number one, unless Microsoft got another trick up its bag, it's going to perform better on Stadia than it is on Xcloud anyway. And I got to have that mobility. And I don't want to have to pay $500 just for one game for it to play special for the next generation. That's absurd to me. Or even $300. I know. It's not going to be worth it to me. The fidelity, look, Dark 6 can tell you again. The mobility proposition of Xcloud pales in comparison to GFN and Stadia. Period. Secondly, here goes the second reason. Let me show you something. The homie Paul Tassi says, yes, Outriders will debut on Xbox Game Pass, but with a catch. Today, Microsoft announced that, yes, Outriders will be launching on Xbox Game Pass on April 1st, a pretty massive deal, similar to when Bungie debuted its expansion, Beyond Light and Game Pass, but this is a full game. There is one catch, however, that this is only for Xbox Game Pass for console and Xcloud, phones and tablets, not PC. So you will need to buy the game on Steam or Epic to play the game store on PC. Guessing there were some issues with those existing stores where PC Game Pass couldn't be part of this deal. So 95% of my play, and there's a lot of people like that, majority of our play, and shout out to Dark 6. His experience may be different from the atypical Stadia user, but it's there nonetheless. He said that the majority of gamers, I'm sorry, not the majority of gamers. He said that his best experience is on the phone and on the PC, not on the CCU. It's usually the opposite. It's usually CCU and then PC, then mobile. But for him, it's different, and it is what it is. So for someone like himself or like me, who most of my Stadia play at home is going to be via my PC or laptop, I'm missing out. So I got to buy a $500 device or a $300 device to get gameplay back as good as Stadia or better, to play on my TV. And that's just not a fathomable thing for me or for many. So it's some food for thought. And with that said, that's all I got to say on the matter. Wow, some big stuff, man. It's really some big questions for Stadia to dawn on with this news. Again, how much more aggressive do they need to get? And instead of getting more aggressive, are they going to put more things? They're going to hide more things. You know what? Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. If your goal is not to hit the main stage just yet, I'm comfortable with you still traversing the cloud space, and you in turn just saying, "Well, look, we just got to keep our mouth shut even further." I'm sorry, people aren't going to like that, but I'm sorry. Now I get why they do what they do. I'm sorry. Now I get it. So if they're more mum about stuff, this might be an end result of that. And some people may have to deal with that and look at that and say, you know what? Well, you're too mum, so I got to go. And that's it. And I think they'll be okay with that rather than them being exposed like how they were today, and big initiatives that were supposed to do something for them while they're in the incubation stage, while they're trying to get ready for the big stage. They won't get slopped up and diced up. They won't get their broth seasoned the way they broth got seasoned today. So I get it. All right, let me go to the chat real quick before I close out. Tommy Rock says games cost money, especially AAA big awaited game like Outriders 2, and over 2 million people played the demo. Actuary Stud says Stadia plus Google Fi plus YouTube TV combo would be sick. That would be a good way to advertise. We don't want Stadia to compete at burning money. That's a good point. Tommy Rocks is up. This is what Google should have done. I'm playing Outriders on Xbox now for sure. Apparently there are rumors that Outriders could go to Stadia Pro and Stadia Pro Now. Take it with a grain of salt and temper expectations. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'd have to examine that. 30 or 60 frames per second. I surely imagine there's going to be a 60 frames per second mode on Stadia. Ashes to Ashes is the game isn't on the MS store at Stadia Dosage News because Square Enix make deals with Epic and Steam. And I get that. I understand that. But that still cuts off the options for people. And that's not going to work for them. You know what I'm saying? So, you see me go up here. Bippity in the house says Xbox is killing. This is great for cloud gaming. I'll get it on Stadia because I don't want it to leave, but I can't wait for Xcloud to come to browsers. I'll be using all these services. Absolutely. Robert Gaspirovic said, such YouTubers are my favorite. Think that you can now make money with a niche product like Stadia. Now you have to talk bad about everything else. Where am I talking bad about? I don't understand the question. You said that I'm talking bad about Xcloud. I've been talking bad about Xcloud because it's the worst. I'm sorry, it's the worst performing. And again, I hate to keep bringing up my brother's name, Robert. I don't know what your favorite platform is. But listen to Doc Dark 1985. He's an Xbox gamer, he can tell you. Now, he also land-based Google because he's like, look, man, y'all, you know, your outreach game is weak. So we got to keep it level. I don't have to talk bad on anything because Xcloud is just the worst performing. Period. Sorry. Christopher Torres. True, but Xcloud gets the loading part right. It takes forever to load. If they fix that, yeah, would be good for them. See, catch somebody else. Square deals with Sony. Normally, yeah, and shout out to Stadia Rev. He said, I wonder how Sony feels about this. Gondara 6590, good to see you, my good friend. He says, I think Google knows the cloud gaming's time is now. It's not now, but 3 and 4 years' time. So it keeps low and conserving funds until that time. I believe that is part of their strategy, but it's hard. But they do have milestones, Gondara. Like, I believe that Jason Schreier, that's what I said. I don't think it was worth attacking Jason Schreier opposed to just laughing at his Les Posay. I wouldn't attack him. It's just, I would just laugh at the fact that this Les Posay was empty and he was trying to make it something bigger than what it was just for his dislike of Stadia. With that said, I believe that they did fall short hundreds of thousands on their launch goals, and they had to earmark those later on towards the year for more successful campaigns. So they have milestones, Gundara, and they got to meet those milestones. They got to meet them. You know what I'm saying? So in order, if Microsoft keeps trying to season your broth, keep trying to lump you, give you lumps, and kill your momentum and take people away from your platform, that's counterproductive towards that. Lunches returns to, so every time Microsoft announces a game, they are attacking Stadia, so they got no right to announce new games. Laugh out loud. Okay. I'm not sure where that, I don't know what he's talking. Are you talking about me or something I said? I'm gonna assume yes right now. No, it's not them attacking Stadia. It's them battling their competitor, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is what you're supposed to do. If you truly fear a competitor and you smell blood in the water, what Microsoft did is what they're supposed to do. Now, there has been no game that has ever been dropped day and date from a AAA multiplayer. Aaron Greenberg said that is not their model. It is clear that they spent a lot of money to make this happen. Why? For Outriders? Because they're trying to keep their neck on Stadia. And there's nothing wrong with that. We got to get out of these boxes where we want to super defend our favorite piece of plastic. I don't know if you guys take these pieces of plastic and do what homie did on American Power. His dad walked in the kitchen and caught him, was like, oh my. You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing wrong with that. Now, when Lynch is, if I misconstrued that and that wasn't towards me and that was towards something else, my bad. But if that was, come on now. Stop it. Microsoft ain't no saints. None of these companies are saints. They're doing what they need to do to survive, and ain't nothing wrong with it. Oh, yeah, it was for me. He said Microsoft didn't even mention Stadia. Hey, Lynches, I don't know what, look, brother, we keep it real here. I don't know what paint chips you're eating. I don't know what fossil fuels you've digested. When PlayStation do what they do they mention Xbox? When they sit there and they put their neck on Xbox and they mention Xbox, what are you talking about? Stop American Pie in your Xbox. Get out of here. Thank you for coming. Let me see here. And the homie Doc Dark, I see the homie Doc Dark here. He says, 100% agree. Shout out to you. Cold as ice in the house. What's up, Cold as ice? What's going on? Hey, man, they cutting up in here, man. Hey, yo, I got to say this. I've been getting some crazy people up in here the last few weeks, and that's fine because we're going to do just what we're going to do. We're going to slice and saute you if you ain't coming proper. But what we don't do is we don't sit there and we don't try to make it seem like that anybody's a saint when they're not. None of these companies are saints. If you have wet dreams over Xbox, that's a you problem. Make sure your bed is heavily padded at night. We're not going to do that here. Xbox is competing. And they did what they should have done today. There's nothing wrong with that. But to say, oh, but Xbox is made out of sugars and sweets and candy canes, and they never do anything like this. Never. Again, stop it digesting the fossil fuels. I got to close out on this one. This is my spiritual advice. Hey, yo, if y'all are not plugged in or subscribed to this guy, you are doing yourself a disservice. All things Stadia, this is the guy at the top. I love everybody, though. But this is the guy that should be at the top of your list. My spiritual advisor, Clive Linda. Clive says, Xbox are making decisions on a starting base of 18.5 million Gamepass subscribers and 50 million Xbox Ones. It would be foolish for Stadia to spend that kind of money on their current player base. I totally agree. And Clive, I don't know if you missed that part where I said earlier, but I think it's indicative of Stadia to even keep their mouth shut even more. Like you may disagree and tune in because my brother's going to be live around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe. Oh, no, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 10 p.m. your time, I think. No. It's different now, Clive, because we had daylight savings over here. So, oh, man, it might be like a 4-hour difference now. I think it's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time now. Oh, you'll drop the time zones. Just go follow Clive Linden, damn it. Clive, I want to hear your take on that. I wonder if Stadia just says, you know what, we open, we tried what idiots like MM2K said, be a little bit more transparent, and look what happened to us. They seasoned our broth today. I want to get your thoughts on that. I would love to hear that tonight. Shout out to Dr. Spaceman. He says on PC, they rival with Stadia now in terms of quality and latency and 1080p 60. Is that full retail yet? Oh, you talking about PlayStation Now? You talking about PlayStation Now? I might give it a shot. That's dope. I'm gonna give it a shot. And nobody's gonna sit on their laurels and rest behind and let Stadia, but Stadia's not gonna sit there and be quiet too. All right. All right. With that said, I appreciate all of y'all. I gotta go pick up my wife. She's gonna break my jaw. Speaking of battles and attacks. But with that said, I appreciate and love all of y'all. This chat was bumping. Shout out to the homie Dark6. Check out a post that I made. I created a playlist for y'all to see everything that he's doing, the videos that he did in our introductory video to all this. Check him out. He's a great content creator. If you love Xbox content, check him out. He is a great guy to listen to. Real down to earth, real knowledgeable. And now he's increased his knowledge base on cloud gaming and particularly Stadia. So with that said, yeah, and check out Clive Linden tonight. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm supposed to be go looking for a house tonight, Clive. I ain't doing it. Y'all heard it first. My living situation is not as important as me listening to Clive Linden tonight. I gotta hear Clive tonight. Stadia Dad Game says, loving the Dark 19. Yeah, man. Great guy. And this is what, and look, I'm going to say this too. Stadia, because we know you're watching. And again, it ain't to make me feel special. We know you're watching. We need y'all to be a little bit more proficient with some of the technical stuff behind the scenes. My brother Dark 6 used my my referral code to sign up for Stadia, and he only got 1 free month. This was during the time period when y'all said there would be 2 free months. I need y'all to look into that. Doc Dark should have 2 free months of Stadia Pro, not just 1. Okay? I'm going to try to reach out to y'all again, and hopefully it'll get fixed. But this is the type of stuff that, because I was on the phone with Doc, and Doc was like, "Hold on, bro. I can hear the funniness in his voice, like, whoa. Well, I wasn't on the phone, I was on Discord with him. And he was like, "Whoa, what's going on, bro? You told me 2 months. What's going on here? Is this a scam to get my credit card information?" Like I can hear it in his voice. So we're trying to do stuff like this for you, Google. We, just do yourselves a huge favor. Make sure it's right behind the scenes. And also, if y'all can get that gifting up, you know what I'm saying? Get the gifting up. Shout out to Freddie Fredo and Christopher Torres. All my people. It says, well, that makes no sense because they think it's profitable. Ashley says that makes no sense, Freddie Fredo. They have a deliberately strategy, and it's to bolster Gamepass and grow the user base. The truth was Microsoft was not ready for the next gen. Sony knows they can wait with Google. 2 consoles buying. Okay. All right. With that said, appreciate and love all of y'all. Y'all have a wonderful gaming day. Check out Clive and Linda tonight. Peace.